I said earlier, my name is Matthew Syrotiak, serving this year as the state alumni president, was a state officer a long time ago, and just kind of going over alumni structure, what it looks like, and some alumni stuff at the national level. So we'll start off today. Um, what does it mean to be an alumni and supporter? So we've got a Slido link. You can scan the QR code and type in your response that way, or you can also type it into the chat or say it aloud, whatever you're more comfortable with. But what does it mean to be an alumni and supporter? And hopefully this works. Also don't know if it'll work, but it says it's working, so it's a miracle. Somebody who was either just a member or just wants to help the organization, right? I think a common misconception is that in order to be an alumni or supporter, you must be a graduate from an ag science school. That is not the case. So really good point there. Yep, advocate for FFA and its members. A very important aspect of alumni and supporters is to give up that time to legislators and to other spokespeople to support our programs as much as we can. We've got one in the chat. An alumni is a former member who helps to organize and who helps guide current members and spread awareness of the organization. All wonderful answers. So yeah, you guys all nailed it right on the head. Alumni and supporters are essentially anybody who is willing to invest that time and energy into our organization. So for today's session, like I said, we're going to take a little look at the history of when alumni started and where they fit into place now. We'll look at the different types of chapters. There are a couple of different types of chapters that we'll dive into. We'll look at the alumni structure, both at the state level and at the local level, as well as looking at some of those national FFA opportunities, which we will dive into additionally in a session later this week. And we'll look at the future, how we can continue to support the growing needs of our programs and of our students. So, alumni and how they support our students. In 1971, the alumni were officially made part of the organization. And so they were kind of chartered in at that convention through the delegate process. They officially voted in alumni to be a part of our organization. And so I like to break down the involvement of alumni into three different categories. Time, so through investments in events, creating opportunities, and opening career doors for our students, whether it be something like a grip or grin activity where alumni come in and teach students how to make a resume or what they're looking for in employers. I think that's an awesome opportunity for those connections to be formed and an awesome opportunity for our current students. Through talent, individuals that have farms themselves that allow students to come on and take tours or have a background in a specific industry can really help in enhancing the career path for that student and opening doors again, going back to that first point. And finally, in resources, whether it be funding or assisting in funding student run programs or events, our alumni help support financially in supporting what our students are trying to accomplish. And now just to give a little shout out that in 2021, National FFA celebrated 50 years of alumni and supporters. So we have not been around quite nearly as much as the national organization, which is almost celebrating 100 years. And so just to put that into perspective as well. And that picture in the corner is the first official chartered document of the alumni. So we'll go again with another Slido. What are some ways that your alumni can help in your chapter? It should be the same link. So if you kept it open in another tab, it's the same Slido. It should all work like that, hopefully. And again, if it doesn't work, feel free to pop it in the chat. Scholarships or fundraising. Yep, a number of alumni chapters. And state alumni used to have a scholarship. We're hoping to bring that one back. So stay tuned for that. Fundraising, events, tours of facilities, and offer knowledge. Fundraising, giving presentations, scholarships, advice, and helping career advice. All really, really good opportunities for alumni to connect with your current students. So there are three basic types of alumni chapters. We have our traditional chapters, which make up the majority of the chapters that you see every day. So if your specific chapter has an alumni chapter, this is typically what it's going to be. It's one associated with a specific school. So if you came from the New Haven Sound School, your alumni chapter would be the New Haven Sound School alumni friends and supporters. And so again, these are our most common, probably the most effective in terms of actually reaching students because they have that direct link to a school system. Then we also have a smaller percentage, which are collegiate chapters. So these are chapters associated with a university or some kind of a career technical institution for those students that are pursuing a college degree and also want to maintain their involvement and role within FFA or the broader organization. So the University of Connecticut used to have a collegiate chapter. We no longer do, but a number of other land grant institutions around the country do. There's a number of students that went to, for example, University of Georgia and have stayed active in FFA alumni over there, or University of Tennessee. Basically, any of your big land grant institutions or institutions that have an agri-science program have some form of a collegiate chapter. And our final and possibly the least common type is corporate. So these are chapters associated with a particular business. I put John Deere in here. They have one of the most active alumni chapters, and they actually received a big award for it for a number of years for maintaining being an active corporate chapter. And so really awesome group they've got there. I think they have a whole website dedicated to it. So if you're ever interested, you can check it out. They've got some really, really strong, even past national officers that sit in that alumni chapter. And then we'll look at kind of the structure of Connecticut's Alumni Association. So we have the National FFA Alumni who works above us. They provide a number of regional workshops. They have annual meetings for state staff as well as normal chapter members. And they do a number of recognition programs in order to enhance and to recognize those alumni that invest those time, talent, and resources into our programs. Then we have our state alumni. Creating opportunities like these workshops here to help delve into the world of alumni, to explain our mission, our values, and create those local workshops, socials, or fundraisers, which we'll all be working for. And we'll have some more information about at the end of the session. And then this directly ties to, again, kind of I circled the traditional chapters because that's what most of the people in our state are going to fit under. We have very few of the corporate or collegiate. However, if for example, there's a branch of John Deere in Connecticut, they could have a corporate chapter. And so, or they could be a part of the national corporate chapter that John Deere has set up. And then when we break this down, we look at kind of the FFA structure in Connecticut. Obviously, we have our national organization above us. Then we have Connecticut FFA, and we have our state foundation. And so, like I said, alumni is all about creating those opportunities and bringing people together. Whereas our state foundation is working with those corporate sponsors, building relationships with business and financial partners. And then Connecticut FFA consists of our state officers, our state executive advisor, and executive secretary who help to create those personal opportunities and growth for students. And this all, again, the state alumni kind of oversees our local chapters within Connecticut. So local alumni network, what does the typical alumni network look like? Who are some of the people that you might expect to be in alumni and supporters organization? So we have our agricultural consulting committee. So every school is required to have a consulting committee. It's made up of industry experts in your community who have been elected to serve and look over things like curriculum, the direction of the school, overseeing department heads and the procedures and the way that your school is being run. There are people who have a sort of background in the agricultural space, and so they provide good guidance into how a chapter should run. A lot of times they'll also be on your alumni board, maybe in a less official manner, but they're really good industry people that you can lean on, especially with those resources we talked about earlier. Then we have the state alumni, which again is all about the structure and professional development. So having somebody on the state alumni on your board or having a representative at the state, opportunities like that. Then we have our community members. So this could be parents, town members, or community leaders that all serve on your alumni board. A lot of times, especially parents or town members, they're going to be there for a certain amount of time. And then once their student graduates, they've lost that sort of relationship. And so a lot of times you'll see an ebb and flow in terms of those individuals that move on and move forward. Then we have our members, which specifically talking about student members. Students enrolled in agricultural classes. A lot of times they have some involvement with the alumni, whether it be giving presentations or providing updates on how the chapter is doing. I think in most cases, alumni love to hear from the student perspective, both in the sense that it allows them to reminisce on the days that they were in FFA, and also it provides that sort of connection again. How can we connect our alumni to our students? You have the ag teachers who are kind of the bread and butter of every ag program, whether it be your FFA advisor, your department head, or just a general teacher. Each of them serve a role in either providing curriculum or instruction to students, or acting as an advisor and guiding students through the different various parts of their career in FFA. And then you have individuals from the Board of Education, or whatever your elected group looks like. And these individuals are really great to try to bring into the board of to your alumni chapter, as a lot of times they're the ones who, when it comes to funding or when it comes to kind of those larger scale decisions, they're going to be the ones that are making those decisions, and you're going to want them to be on an alumni board or working with your community. So, who are some of the community supporters that can be a part of the alumni? So brainstorm a little bit about some of the people you want on the alumni, some of the people that you want to include, people that are driven, people that are, hold some kind of position in the town. Again, we'll do the Slido link once again for this question. If anybody has any questions throughout the session, let me know. Probably should have prefaced this by saying it will be a little bit shorter. So for those of you looking for state credit, sounds great to you. Town representatives and small business owners, precisely. Perfect. I know in Woodbury, which is the chapter I'm from, we have individuals who come in to do class tours. So Justine Ramsey is one of our state foundation supporters. She does a lot of work with floral arts and doing that for different wedding venues. So she does that. That's her small business. She comes in and does a floral presentation at the Woodbury chapter with those students every year. So creating relationships like that, I mean, that's an awesome opportunity to not only hear from somebody who's been in the industry, but then also maybe create that opportunity for an internship or some kind of a relationship in the future. You have professionals in agricultural areas, teachers and professors at various levels of education, right on. Anybody who has some kind of a background in ag would be great, whether they were in FFA or ever worked with FFA before. It's never too late to open up that door of opportunity. Perfect. So we'll be talking a little bit about those national opportunities. This is a great slide. I love this. Isn't it beautiful? So National FFA is providing this year specifically the Alaska experience. So there's currently registration for that up on National FFA's website. So any alumni can attend this conference, and it is primarily a social event. There are a couple of workshops, and I think there's a regional development conference happening just after this. But it's just a fun time. There's a lot of tours. There's a lot of just, again, networking opportunities. I want to say it's about a week, but we'll dive into some of the more specifics in the later session, which is on Wednesday, in terms of breaking down what that schedule is going to look like, how you can sign up, those kind of things. But for now, just a really cool opportunity that's made possible because of supporters at the local level. And so if you are a member of your local alumni chapter, definitely something you want to keep in mind and take a look at. So like I said, these are some of the upcoming events. And so we put in here the Alaska experience. So registration for that is due May 15th. And it runs from the 22nd to the 25th. However, you can stay there a little bit longer, and there are options for you to attend, that regional development event, like we mentioned earlier. And so those regional development conferences are an opportunity to connect with alumni within your region. So National FFA has divided up the state into different regions. And so they invite a national facilitator to come out and provide education on how we can better reach members, how we can engage the community, those kind of things. So the one that's closest to us is in New Hampshire this year. It is March 15th to the 16th. And so that's a really great opportunity to, again, connect with some individuals that are within our region. And it's also in New Hampshire, which is nice. It's not too far away. I know in some years past, it's been in Delaware or in Kentucky. And so it's nice that they brought it back up into the Northeast a little bit. We'll go up to the state events. Like I mentioned earlier, we do have a workshop this Wednesday, which is February 28th. And that's a really great opportunity to look at some of those other national opportunities that we won't dive into in today's session. because today's session is more primarily focused on structure, function, those kind of things. And so we will also be talking about state convention. We'll be looking at some ways to engage alumni and supporters at the convention itself. And so more details to come on that. Stay up to date with those updates and on social media. We'll be providing workshops, probably this one once again, during the session, as well as a number of other opportunities. We've talked about the in-person regional development conference. They also have remote development conferences, which are similar structure, long form days. So that's April 1st to the 4th. And then the second one is July 15th to the 18th. Again, a good opportunity if you can't head out to that regional development conference. There's still ways for you to engage with other members of the alumni. Those ones are not specific to a region, so that's also nice. You'll be able to meet with some people that might be from different states than what we have within our region. And then one of the really cool opportunities for alumni is the National FFA Convention and Expo. They are always looking for judges or officials or people that are able to kind of invest some time there. And so there's a whole bunch of information about attending the convention, what that looks like, and how you can be involved. I put the link to all of this information at the bottom. It's just ffa.org/alumni and supporters, and then you just look at the events that they have. It's a really great opportunity for anybody to get involved and to, again, see how you can use those time, talent, and resources to help members. And then we looked at we talked a little bit about fundraising, how alumni are going to be able to fundraise and support our students. And so there are a number of different ways that we can fundraise, and I've just put a couple of them here to look at. So you've got your local store roundup, especially local Tractor Supplies do this really well. I think they're still currently doing the emblem thing as well. And so that's a good opportunity to, when you go to a Tractor Supply, to do the $1 emblem. And all of those proceeds end up back into our state at some point. Doing something like a penny drive or some kind of an activity that pits the different grade levels against each other is a really great opportunity for fundraising. I know Northwestern Regional has a really great craft fair. They do that every year. It raises a lot of money. It's a great opportunity to engage your alumni and again, raise money for students. Raffles are also a really, really good way. You see them at the local fairs all the time with the different groups doing a raffle. The one thing with raffles is you do have to be a certified nonprofit, which is once you've become affiliated with National FFA, you are. But you do have to provide a number and get a form from the state to do so. So if you have any specific questions about that, feel free to reach out. Community events, we've got your community dance, your faculty breakfast, bake sales, or community cleanup. All of those are ways for the alumni to engage members, but then also support the community in some way. And so it's a really great opportunity, especially like faculty breakfast this past FFA week, or maybe if you're celebrating it this week, doing something to show appreciation to the grander school. Doing a bake sale, again, really easy, kind of fun way to raise money. And then we have some large scale fundraisers. I know there are a number of chapters that do community dinners or farm to table dinners. Those are a really big hit and a great way to engage both producers in terms of buying their produce and then serving it. And then also consumers, people from the community who want to have a really nice dinner, network with individuals. So those are both really good ways to do it. I know Woodbury had a really successful car show this past year. I think Chappaqua is also looking to do one of those. And so those are good opportunities again for people who have a certain niche in the agricultural space to express that and to work with that. And then doing silent auctions. I know this year we are looking at doing a silent auction at the state convention. And so hopefully that works out well. Luckily, if COVID has taught us anything, it's how to do these online as well. And so those opportunities then get moved online and there's more reach with those types of events. And then continuous, we talk about merchandise, being able to provide merch and then people can buy it and then that helps raise money. Or industry partnerships, working with, again, a local Tractor Supply, a local dealer, and allowing them to either come into classes or to send in a donation. And then doing also a donation link, just having that up on your website. Every once in a while, somebody will come on and give a donation. And so that always helps. We also look at some grant opportunities. National FFA gives a lot of grants out every year through their corporate sponsor. They do a Give Back to Your Roots grant, which is a nutrient ag solution specific grant. So nutrient ag solutions, they collect a number of different entries. Then they evaluate who gets money, and then they give that money out to the different chapters. It's a really great way to, again, for nutrient ag solutions to reach out and to make that investment in our local chapters. It's also a great opportunity for if you have an alumni and supporters chapter that has an ambitious project, they will help fund it. So I think that one's about $1,000. The legacy grants are $500. And then the leadership scholarship is just a general scholarship pool. It's primarily for alumni, and so they open up that scholarship every year, and any student can apply. And a lot of times they'll end up getting money from the national organization and the various partners that they have there. But these are all really great opportunities for, again, getting some money to work towards a specific project. They do have a certain criteria you have to meet, and you have to be really good kind of at communicating with the national organization, or else they will pull funding. So I know the last time I did one was when I was a student. We did one working with a local Audubon center to create bird boxes and baffles. And so that was a great way. Again, we did the grant. We got students engaged and were able to provide both enriching activities as well as support for the community. And then we talk a little bit about the National FFA Award and Recognition Program. And so this is these are a number of programs that National FFA does to recognize the different individuals or chapters or state associations that do a lot in terms of alumni and supporters. I'm pretty sure Wisconsin has won this like the last 3 years in a row, so good on them. So there are 3 different award programs that they do. It's Outstanding Achievement Award, which is per individual. And so that's just an individual. It could be somebody in your local chapter, somebody at the state, but somebody who has invested a lot of time, talent, or resources into their chapter, and who wants to be recognized at the national level. We also have Outstanding Chapter Awards. This is for a specific chapter, so could be the Chapag or Woodbury or Killingly, who can get some recognition again at the national stage. It's all through an application process and is evaluated through National FFA. And then Outstanding State Association, which, like I mentioned there, Wisconsin is like a reigning champ when it comes to their alumni. And so they're a good association to kind of look at as in terms of how they help support their local chapters. So all these applications are due July 1st of every year. So they'll be due July 1st, 2024. And then they get reviewed. And then I think there's also an interview process and a number of other things that go into it. But again, it's a great way for local chapters to show off what they're doing and gain that recognition that they deserve. And so that is it. That is all I have for today's session. Like I said, it's a little bit shorter. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. And if not, you can scan the QR code and this will give you credit for attending today's session. Thank you so much for your engagement. And if you have any questions, I'll be on for a little while longer.